Good morning, students. I'm Mansi Angne from Nagar Secondary School, Bandra East. And yesterday we have started with the revision concept, and that was lesson number 9 of trade. And now we are going to start part 2 of the same lesson, that is lesson number 9, trade. So we'll move towards the slide. Before going to the second part, let's see what we have covered in the previous lecture of this revision of trade lesson. So in the previous lecture, we have seen like what is the concept of trade. In the concept of trade, that is the involvement of the terms demand, producer and the buyer. Whenever there is a demand created in the market, whenever there is a need created in the market, then only the producer notice it and make the things available. He produces it or he manufactures it. And when the producers manufacture it, the buyers buy it. So this whole link is connected to each other. And the concept of trade comes, that is demand buying and supply sale. So we have seen the concept of trade, as well as we have seen that the trade is an important economic activity because no country is self-sufficient and all are interdependent on each other. Wherever the country is having more, he is going to supply for the country which is having less or scarce in the quantity. Further, we have seen what is wholesale trade as well as what is retail trade, and visible trade and invisible trade. In the visible trade, we have seen like the trade which can be easily visible, that is the visible trade. When there is a buying and selling of the goods, it is called as the visible trade, whatever is easily visible or whatever you see in the market. Then invisible trade is what, when there is an exchange of services, it is called as an invisible trade. So these two concepts also we have seen yesterday. Then we have also seen about the age old concept of the trade, and that was the barter system which was used in the medieval period and in the ancient period, where the commodity was exchanged for the lieu of work, for the exchange of grains. The milk was exchanged for the grains, the vegetables were exchanged for some other things. So this way barter system was there when the currency was not there. But there was also problem in that to find out the proper estimate. So that's why the currency system came into existence. Further, we have seen the domestic trade and international trade. In domestic trade, we have seen the trade takes place between the different regions within the same country. It is called as the domestic trade, the trade which is in same country. Then in international trade, we have seen the trade which takes place between two different countries. It is called as an international trade. Further, we have seen in international trade, there is also a division like bilateral trade and multilateral trade. When the international trade takes place between two countries, it is called as a bilateral trade. And when it is taken place between more than two countries, it is known as multilateral trade. Even we have seen wholesale trade, where the traders buy the commodities on the large scale directly from the producer and sell it to the retailer. And retail trade, when the traders buy the goods from wholesale trader and sell it directly to the consumer. Further, yesterday we have seen more terms which was related with an international trade, that is an export and import. These are the basic processes of international trade. When a country buys those goods and services which are in scare in their own country, it is known as they are actually taking from others, so it is known as import. And when the country is producing more thing than the demand of its own country and it's supplying to the other country, it is called as export. So these things we have covered yesterday. Now we are going to move on the next page. Students, open page number 70. So there the term is given balance of trade. Now, what is this balance of trade? Balance of trade means the difference between import and export value. Whatever difference we get into the import value, that is what we take from the other country, and the export value, what we are giving to the other countries. The difference between that, it is called as the balance of trade. Now, it is for the specific period, so it is a balance of trade. Now, some examples are given here, some types of balance of trades are given here in your textbook. Now, let's see this balance of trade. What types are there? Now, in trade, different types are there in the balance of trade. So, first we will see unfavorable balance of trade. Now, you can see here on the slide something which is not balanced. Okay, one side the weight is more, one side the weight is very less. So, that is in terms of import, it is more, and export, it is less. For example, India is taking more things or importing more things from the other country. Okay, that for example, consider that this is the India's import value. Then it is giving to the other country very less. So this type of trade is not favorable for the economic growth or the development of country, because we are purchasing more from others and we are selling very less thing for the other countries. Means what? It will affect our economy. So that is why this type of trade is called as an unfavorable trade. So when the value of import is more than the value of export, it is called as unfavorable balance of trade. Now let's move to another figure, that is 9.3b. You can see here in your textbook also a different type of figure is there, but I have taken it a different type. So balance of trade. Now in this figure it is shown a favorable condition. Now favorable condition is what? When your country is exporting more things to the other country, means you're getting lot of profit out of it. So your economic growth and development will be more. And in return, you're taking or you're investing very less money to buy something, because we are having so many things in our own country, so we will buy only little things from the other country. So whatever things you're investing in the import is less, and whatever profit you are getting from export, it is more. So this type of condition is very favorable for the economic growth of the country, and that is why it is called as favorable trade. So we have covered with unfavorable trade, and we have seen the concept of favorable trade. Now let's move to the next slide. Now, what you can see here is there, it is like a weighing machine, and you can see here import and export, which is there. Both the things are showing the same balance. Okay, import also value is same, and export also value is same. So here, what you can see is there is a balance of trade. The country is importing also or investing money in the import, that much only the country is exporting. So here no profit and no loss. So that kind of condition we say that it is called as the balanced trade. Now, what is this balanced trade? When a value of export and import is almost same, okay, whenever it is same, so that type of trade it is called as the balanced trade. Now we have seen the three types of trade. What is that? One is the favorable condition, one is unfavorable condition, and the third type is balanced trade. Now we'll go a little bit related to the topic, but it's a different concept, that is related with the international trade. And what is that? What is related with international trade are the organizations which are connected with all the countries, which are connected with each others for trade purpose. So, international trade organization. Now, what is the function of this international trade organization? How it works that we are going to see in this paragraph of international trade organization. Carrying out trade at an international level is more complex process, means it is very difficult process than the domestic trade. Domestic trade within your own country, it can be done very easily, but when you're doing a trade with other countries, you may face lot of problems. The trade takes place between two or more nations. The factors like the economy of the country, government policies. Now see what factors are there which are affecting or which influences the trade, which influences the international trade. First is that the economy of the country, the economy of the both the countries which are dealing with each other, that is also going to affect. Then the government policies. Now each country will have its own government policies. So the other country who is dealing with it has to follow it. Then market laws are there. Even like market laws are also taken into consideration when you are making an international trade. Then judicial system is there, currency is there, all over in the world the same type of currency is not used. So the different type of currencies are used. So what is the value of that particular country in that particular nation, it is also considered. Then language, all over languages are not same. All these factors are influencing the trade. The political relation between two countries also influence the trade. Whenever there is a dispute going on between the two countries, like how we are having the dispute with China, and also it is affecting our trade. Sometimes the obstacle in the way of trading affect the mutual relationship adversely. To avoid this, International Economic and Trade Organization came up. Now, when all these problems are there, who is going to solve this? So, for that purpose, the International Trade Organization came up to smoothen and justify the process of trade, to make the process of trade runs very smoothly. Then, some international economic organizations were formed. These organizations work together the facilitation and growth of international trade. This works to provide the facility to provide the smooth functioning of international trade. Now, in your textbook, there is a headquarters, a picture is given of the headquarters of ASEAN. Now, this ASEAN in detail we are going to see in the next chart, that is an association of Southeast Asian countries. So, this is the headquarters where they are having, and you can see here the picture of it. Then also next picture which is given in your textbook, let's go to it. That is an World Trade Organization, WTO. The headquarters is in Switzerland, Geneva. And you can see here the picture of this organization. So these two pictures are given in your textbook. That is an ASEAN, headquarters of ASEAN, and the head office of World Trade Organization. Now, some more economic organizations are there in the world which actually work for it. Now, we are going to see about the European Union, EU. In that, you have seen, come to page number 71, the numbers of members and the state is round about 28. Then the headquarters is in Brussels, Belgium. And what are the aims and function of it? That is the established and integrated market among the members nation of Europe. It works for the member nation of Europe. Free flow of goods, services and capital in the Europe. Then custom duties have been cancelled on the exchange of goods within the member nation. There are no custom duties. Then common euro currency established. So the currency which is used here is euro because it deals only with the countries which are there in Europe. So next type of organization we are having it, the Organization of Petroleum and Exporting, that is OPEC. You can see the logo here, and 13 member states are there. The Headquarters is there in Vienna, Austria. And what is the aim and function of it? It controls an international trade of crude oil, then controlling the rates of crude oil production among the member state, then maintaining and consensus in the oil export. So this is the function of this OPEC. Now we'll go to the next organization, South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, SAS. You must have many time heard about this. And how many member states are there here? 8 member states are there, and you can see a logo of this SAS. Then, what is the aims and function of this? Finding satisfactory solution to the common problem faced by the country in South Asia. To find out the solution for the member nation of South Asia is the aim. Then increasing social welfare, raising the living standard and increasing regional cooperation among the member states. And last is to remove the unrest in South Asia. So these are the aims and function of SARS. Moving ahead, we'll go to the next organization, APEC, is Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation, and 21 member states are there. So you can see the logo over here. Now the headquarters of this particular organization is there in Singapore, and the functions are free trade and economic cooperation in Asia Pacific Ocean region. Next is promoting regional and technical cooperation among the members. So it promotes it work for the economic cooperation of Asia and Pacific Ocean region. Moving ahead, we are having one more organization, that is BRICS. You must have heard about it. You must have come through this word in the book of history and geography. So, this the name is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Together, it is made as BRICS. Then, how many members are there? This total 5 which are seen. So, only 5 members are there. And where is the headquarter? The headquarter is in Shanghai, China. And what are the aims and function? Now, make funds available for the growth of economics of the members nation whenever there is a need of the funds for the economic development. This organization, these all countries will come together and they are going to sponsor the funds. Then enhancing the mutual cooperation and strengthening the economic security is the function of this BRICS. Apart from this, the World Trade Organization we have seen, and the World Trade Organization also aims to provide the platform for negotiation of international trade, then to handle the differences related to the trade, then monitor the trade policies and providing technological assistance, as well as the Asian countries, Asian organization, where it is in Indonesia, Jakarta. It works for expanding the social and cultural harmony among the economic growth of SE Asia, that is Southeast Asia, promoting regional peace and promoting tax waiver for trade growth in member states. So this was just a review we have taken of the international organization, economic organization of the world. Apart from this, many other organizations are there, but we have taken some of the main things which are given in your textbook. Now we are moving towards the new concept. Now so far we have seen about the trade. Now let's see a little bit the term which is related with the trade, and that is marketing. Now you can see here on this slide, marketing strategy is there, advertising is there, media is there, consumer is there, then network, sales, price, product, growth, blog, promotion, business and branding. So many things comes under marketing. Now, to make you explain this thing in a better way, they have given you one example in your textbook, that is on page number 72. So, what example they have given you? See, they have given a small example. It's like a story that Dhondiba is to grow the best varieties of vegetables, and other agriculture commodities, but his product could not fetch a good price. His college son saw the situation and first packed the commodities nicely after cleaning them neatly. So what is college son done? This is related with marketing. Okay, Dondibar has produced a lot of good fresh fruits and vegetables, but the price he was not getting for it. So the college son, since he was learned person, he understood what he lacking. Then what he did, he cleaned the vegetables, cleaned the fruits, and packed them very nicely. And then he contacted the supermarket in the town. Looking at the quality of his product, they advertised the farm product and kept it for the sale in the mall. Today, Dondiba's commodities are being sold at higher prices. Now you can see a little technique is used over here. And what is this technique? That is the technique of marketing. That is the technique of selling or presenting, which makes lot of matter in this trade. Now, an appropriate presentation of any commodity is indispensable. The price of commodity is determined by its quality, its grading, and how it is presented to the customer. Dondiba's commodities lacked it. Okay, Dondiba's commodities was lacking there. It was not seen wherever the person used to go to buy this. They used to see that the commodities are not nicely packed. Okay, that's why whatever the quality which was there, it was lacking in Dondiba's commodity. So what his son did, he packed it very nicely. Then Dondiba's commodities lacked this. Dondiba's son recognized it and adopted the necessary changes on time. Thus, when we take a similar measures for industrial and agricultural products, then the value of commodity increases from consumers' view. Thus, the product fetch a good price and also the demand for prices increasing. So this is where this is a type of a technique which is used by Dondiba for advertising his product, for marketing his product. Now after seeing this or after going through this story, what we have understood, is that marketing is very very important or very very necessary. It's a part of a trade. Whenever if you want a good price for your product, then marketing is very necessary. Now one more chart is given in your page number 73. This is regarding, this is a list of few goods you regularly use and the name of company and the sources of information, that all you are going to answer, but there's no need to explain it, only you're going to fill that. Then we'll move to the importance of marketing. Now what is the importance of marketing? Now modern industrialists, social fabric, globalization, and availability of abundant choices, alternative of the product is the structure of today's business. Now you can see lot and lot of varieties are there. If you go for the soap, you will have the different types of a soap. If you go for the pen, you will get different types of a pen, thousand brands in there. For the clothes, you will find thousands brands are there. So it create what it creates a competition in the market. This is the structure of today's business world. In this content, the existence of marketing system for the trade is very important, and so that is why what our marketing comes here, it's considered to be very important in terms of trade. Why? Because we have to survive in this competitive world. Through marketing, one can increase the business systematically. What can be done from this marketing? One can increase its business systematically. Otherwise, there are a lot of things available in the market. The person who doesn't accept the modern technology has to leave behind. The production can be distributed all at once on a large scale. The product can reach to the large numbers of consumers. The selling price of the product also increases. Also, defective product can be recalled in the market. Now, because of technology, see, technology help us lot in way in this marketing. Now, what it can help? It can help for the distribution of product on the large scale. The same product can be distributed. You can ask for the need by the help of technology. You can ask for the need of the people in the various parts of India. then you can transport it. So all this technology help us. Then it helps the selling price also increases because of the competition. Also, whatever defective, if sometime what happens, the defective products comes in the market. Whenever there is a defective product, it is not going to fetch any good price. So that defective product is can be recalled back from the market. Therefore, in today's era, marketing plays a very important role and very vital role. Advertising making the consumer feel the need to buy the goods are on the rise. Now see lot of advertisements are there to draw the consumer attraction. Okay, to draw the consumer's attraction, even if you're on the TV, after just 2 minutes you will find the advertisement. So a lot of advertisements are there to attract the consumer. This is the way of reaching the maximum consumer. Attracting the consumer to the product and making the consumer buy the products are the objectives behind it. So what are the objectives behind this particular advertising is to make the consumer buy the product. In recent time, the information technology and media has affected the marketing system deeply. Because of revolution in the field of information technology, the whole world has become a big market. So anywhere you can get anything, any type of a thing, even by online shopping. Now many of you must be doing an online shopping. It's possible because of the use of technology. Through internet, we can get the information about the production taking place in various countries. This makes the numerous options available for the customer. So the varieties of options can be displayed with the and can be known with the help of internet. It is due to internet that the consumer can facilities like the online trading, e-marketing, etc. Now this is we have seen about the concept of marketing. Okay, the concept of marketing is the activity of showing the advertising and company's product. It is the best possible way in a best possible way. And doing an advertisement from the social media, it draws the attraction of the consumer. Now what next we are going to see here? Now you can see here the examples of marketing, how the products are displayed. The products are displayed so to attract the consumer. You can see even from the glass the people can see what types of products are there. When you see the products are there, fresh produce, see how they have given the title for the shop, fresh produce. Once you see the shop name fresh produce, you means you are tend to go there and you wanted to see the product, then you will get inside. So this is how this type of advertising is done. On the other slide you can see that the person is has kept everything openly, like we have seen that Dondiba's example in the starting of the lesson of marketing. We have seen that when Dondiba is to sit like this person who is sitting here with all its vegetables are placed in the hips, and then nobody was coming to buy his commodities. Then what he did in the next slide, you can see that a name nicely given for the shop. Everything is arranged in the proper manner, and you can see the peoples are getting inside to buy the things. And even because of this advertisement and marketing, a good amount of price can be get for the product. Now moving ahead, this importance of marketing we have done. Then always remember what there is a chain in this whole marketing, or there is a chain in the whole trade. Now what is this? An invisible flow develops when a product goes from producer to the consumer. Directly the product doesn't come from the producer to the consumer. There is a link between it, there is a long chain between it. Then the commercial functions involved in these flows are collectively called as marketing. So what is this marketing? Marketings are all these commercial functions which are involved in bringing the things towards the consumer. In this flow, collectively, it is called as marketing. So everything, whatever terms are there, we have seen in the first slide. In the marketing, there was a lot of things involved, strategy involved, blocks involved, advertising involved, media involved. So all these things, it's related with a common name that is called as the marketing. A price of the commodity, sales, promotion, advertising, and distribution are the major component of the marketing. Now, this is the figure from your textbook only, page number 73. Now, let's try to understand it. First, commodity is given. Now, of commodity, production is there at the first stage. Then classification is there. Down you can see here. Now, production, what they have taken the example of basmati rice. Then classification is also done there. Then the branding is done. Under branding, what is there? Details about the quality of production, price, advertisement, distribution, this comes over branding. Then labeling is there. Okay, labeling is there, branding logo it is there of the company, and in labeling all this advertisement and distribution comes. Then packaging is there. How is the packaging? Even packaging matters a lot, because whenever there is an attractive packaging, then only the consumer is going to go or attracted towards that particular thing. So we'll see this in the next slide. You can see here the example, the same example we have taken. Now, this is the basmati rice classic. Okay, what is the classification of it? It is a basmati rice classic. So, in the classification, we have seen whole, broken, dubar, etc. A type of basmati rice. Then, the name of the company and logo it is given. See your India Gate. Okay, is considered to be a best quality of basmati rice. So this is the India Gate logo they have given here. Then the details of the quality of production. Now everything details of the quality of the production you will see on the other side of the packet. Whatever quality is there, then price what is there, advertisement, if this advertisement is in the front only. So what is the content, 1 kg pack, then attractive packaging. See, you can see here the packet is shown very, very attractive with the brown color, with lot of color used. Red color is there. Your nice basmati rice cooked picture is given in the corner. So when the customers see this type of packets, now, supposingly, if this basmati rice is packed in the just a transparent plastic bag, then the people will not get so much attracted towards it. So, what is given here is a beautiful package is given here, and that's why this marketing is actually affecting its matter a lot in the page. So, this advertising is affecting lot. Now, let's go on page number 74. There is a concept related with marketing. And what is this concept? Last concept from the lesson, that is the Consumer Protection Act. See, we are buying all the things from the market. Sometimes because of the wrong advertisement, people are getting cheated. Now, how to deal with this type of problem? For helping the consumer, there is an Consumer Protection Act. Now, if a product is advertised using an incorrect information, fraudulent means, or marketing exaggerated statements to choose to cheat the consumer. See, exaggerated statements you can see in the advertisement. Now, nowadays, so many advertisements are coming in the market. You apply that soap, next day you become fair. So, this is not the thing. This is all exaggerated statements are used to attract the people. You apply the hair oil and the hairs will grow within 1 month. They will the hairs will grow. Never this type of things are happening. So this is just in to cheat or to attract the consumer. Pointing out the shortcomings of the competitors, then advertisement tend to lose the trust many times. Now, advertisers, what they do, they just wanted to make a marketing. So they try to make their advertising technique very effective. And because of this, what happens? The people are getting cheated. Therefore, while advertising, it is necessary to follow the rules and regulation. Even for advertising, also, they cannot advertise in any way. Some rules are there for that, some regulations are there for that. So they are going to follow those rules. The consumer should also beware of such advertisement. The consumer should be aware of such advertisement. The consumer should know about such advertisement. That is why, to solve this problem, whom we are going to tell? We cannot fight to the shopkeeper. See, whatever this you have sold, oil you have sold, see, my hairs are gone because of that. So you cannot go into the shop and fight with the person because he will say, this I have not made it at my home. This has come from the particular company. Now, whom to go? So, for helping the people, there is a Consumer Protection Act has been come into force or been enacted. It is necessary that the consumer recognizes his own needs and buy the goods at the reasonable needs. So, what is important is that the consumer should not get attracted, should be always aware of this type of advertisement. He should not get attracted towards them and try to buy according to his needs and the goods at reasonable rates. So, this was the last concept of your trade lesson. We have grabbed and covered everything which was there in the lesson. Now, let's come to the recall part. Let's come to the recall part. Start from the beginning. What we have done today. Here we have taken a little bit recall of the last lecture. Then we have seen the balance of the trade. In that balance of the trade, what we have learned is that the difference between the import and export value of the country in a specific period it follows the balance of trade. In this balance of trade, we have seen, moving to the next slide, we have seen the three types that is unfavorable when the condition of value of import is more than the value of export. It is called as the unfavorable balance of trade. Moving ahead, we have seen the balance of trade favorable condition, and what is that when the value of export is more than the value of import, which affects our economic development is called as in favorable balance of trade. After that, we have seen what is a balanced trade when the value of import and value of export is almost the same in the no profit and no loss term. So that is called as the balanced trade. Moving ahead, we have seen the International Trade Organization because international to carry out the trade between two or more countries is a very complex process, and for the smooth functioning or to carry out this trade in a smooth way to solve the disputes and all of the countries, the organization has come into existence, and that is called as the International Trade Organization. We have seen the headquarters of the ASEAN also, as well as we have seen the W Trade Organization headquarters. We have seen the information about the aims and functions of European Union, that is EU. We have seen the organization of petroleum and exporting along with its aims and function. Moving further, we have seen South Asia Association for Regional Cooperation and how many countries are there in this. Then Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation APEC. Then we have seen Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa together in under one organization, and that is called as a BRIC. So this are the main some of the important economic organization we have taken a notice of it. Then we have learned the term which is related with the trade, and that is called as the marketing. In this marketing, we have seen that the different things are involved in this business promotion, branding, growth, product, blogs, strategies, advertisement, consumer network, sales, media. Then what we have seen is that we have also seen the example from your textbook that how the Undiba's commodities was lacking the quality and how he presented it into the good way, then it fetches a good price. Then the concept of marketing, that activity of showing and advertising a company's product. And what is this concept of marketing? It is an activity of showing and advertising a company's product in a best possible way. In a best possible way, why? To draw the consumer's attraction. So next we have seen the importance of marketing. Okay, then we have seen the last part that was how the whole link or how the whole flow together it is called as marketing. That is the price of the commodity, sales promotion, advertising, distribution. And we have seen with the help of the basmati rice example, they have given production, classification, branding, labeling, and packaging. all this term, how it is affecting our sales. Then we have seen how the nice attractive package attract the consumer. And the last we have seen about advertisement, when the advertisements are used, when they provide an incorrect information, then fraudulent means of making an exaggerated statement to choose the consumer. Now what is going to do, with whom is going to fight, or where he's going to file a case? So he can go to the Consumer Protection Act. So this is what we have seen in the today's lesson. So we have completed the revision of lesson number 9, trade. Okay, students, thank you. Hello, sir.
Yes, Mansi teacher.